at the end of the day with Top Model, yes, everyone played their part, but the ones that are truly, truly to blame for mostly, I'd say like 80% is Tyra and Ken Mock.
We're talking about like different people to blame, okay, of course, Tyra, she's kind of being labeled. I would say people who are defending her are saying that she's a scapegoat here, right? And you have said some things about like J. Manuel in the past, like him kind of being involved in some of like these setups, essentially. I mean, what's your
Mhm.
perspective of like? I feel like when I watched the documentary, Miss J's a different story, but J. Manuel, they kind of and Nigel, they're all kind of being boxed into this like almost like they're a victim here. Do you view J.
I
Manuel
think
as a
that's funny.
victim?
No, no, okay. No. I think that's really funny. I also like I find it so fascinating. I'm sorry, I don't mean to back this up, but it'll come full circle. I find it so fascinating that Netflix is hiring a press tour, and the only ones that they're involving in this press tour are the judges who also got paid for the show. And the majority of the models that I know of did not get paid for their interviews with Netflix. So that's exploitation again of the models, having them work and not get paid. And now they're doing this press tour that includes the three judges, and Netflix is paying them. They're probably making money just like on America's Next Top Model. And it's interesting that I also think that they are playing a little bit of the victims as well. And I do not buy that. I'll give them credit where the credit is due, to where I feel like the majority of them are innocent in the sense of they didn't know how psychologically we were abused behind the scenes when it wasn't the photo shoots, when it was like interview days. I don't think they really knew too much about each girl's history, but you can kind of just tell from our personality, like Angeli, you can learn from like Laura Kirkpatrick. You kind of can tell, like where what we've come from. Um, but like for instance, Nigel, let me go one by one.
Us as panelists, and certainly myself, had absolutely no idea. And so, yeah, when I saw it on air live, I was like, my goodness, we allowed that to happen?
Nigel was very aware, and he came out on interviews after 2020 as well, saying like, yeah, Tyra picked the pictures, and yes, we know that they didn't pick the best picture, and blah 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 blah, right? During the shoots at the time, I called him out specifically over that on the All Stars. I also don't think he's the best photographer, but that's just between you and me. Um, that I was like, you're literally having me jump and basically do the splits in the air again, which is the one critique that the judges don't want to see in me anymore. But you're now going to make me do that. And he goes, well, just make it like your thing. And I'm like, okay, here we go. I was like, Nigel, don't pull this shit on me. Like, we know what's going on. And he like, I know, don't play stupid. Like, come on, Nigel. And he went along with that whole narrative that was just a constant lie, and it was gaslighting. So, and then on top of it, early on cycle 5, I really didn't appreciate, and he was probably told to do this too, because I don't think he would just do this because he was like married. But he was very like flirtatious with the girls. And he in cycle 5, I remember specifically that he was first calling me like a diamond in the rough during the eliminations or panel. And then like saying like, I don't like her, but I kind of really do. Like he was still kind of like nice to me, but when they were actually doing the judgments. And there was one day in particular where he was being so flirty with Jayla that it just made me feel uncomfortable because she was so young, and he was just like, what are you doing? I actually said to him, like, what are you doing? Like, aren't you married? And then from that day forward, he was so mean to me in panel. And I was like, this is so fucking bullshit. And I bet you he was told, because they even said it in the Netflix, like he was hired because he was attractive and he was a white male. And it was definitely to kind of like make the girls loosen up and flirty and da 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 da. So he definitely played his position. But at that same time, out of Miss J, Manuel, and Nigel, I just got to be honest. The one that I just just flat for me is Nigel. Everyone's always like, Nigel's so cute. Is he so nice? And I'm just like,
He seems like a mediocre photographer who got pretty lucky that he scored a gig on a show that lasted probably longer than it
you
should have
said
lasted.
it. You said it, not me. As far as Jay Manuel, like there's something that I just love about Jay Manuel, because even though he played his role, I still feel like he was still very smiley and kind to us.
Mhm.
Even though he knew, you knew that he knew, you could feel that he knew more than he knew, you know?
Mhm.
And insanely talented. Like Jay Manuel is so insanely talented. And I really give him a lot of credit for the balls that it took for him to come out with that book that he came out with, which was
That was
basically
really
calling.
good.
You read it?
Mhm.
I have a copy, but I didn't
I
get to
read
read it.
portions of it back when I covered it because it was just, I mean, the way that he really let go with that one. I mean, it was kind of our first time
That's what I
seeing
mean. That's what
the
I mean. I
fault.
want people to be like honest and
Mhm.
like, come on now, like, come on, we need some transparency. So I really did like that he did that. That was he got a lot of respect for me for that. And then knowing he went on to just continue to just look great, take care of his body, create his own makeup line. Like I'm just saying, he's so talented. Even though I know he played his part and whatever, at least I feel like he's been the most genuine out of all of them, of being as transparent as he possibly can. So I'll give him that. Um,
And
let
you're
me
the
look
only
at-
one who's lived this experience too. So like, I feel like from the outside, it's easy for me to be like, Tyra and Jay and all of them are as bad, but you actually lived those. You felt the nuances of how these people treated you, how they looked at you and stuff. So I think that's like admirable that you're not like, F J Manuel, because sometimes there was like, some humanity to him and things like that.
yeah.
You were in a particular time too, because you were in, reminder to the viewers, you're in cycle 5, you came back for cycle 6. Now around cycle, was it 8 or 10? Jay had his falling out with Tyra, and then he was kind of forced to do the next like 10 seasons. And they didn't have much of a relationship.
Yeah,
I know
which
this
I
is
didn't
kind of
know.
it's a difficult, did you have any idea, like when you came back for 17, like would you have been able to clock like there was something different between, because clearly there's a lot of issues between Tyra and Jay Manuel's relationship. I mean, like we saw in the documentary how she would not like really answer when it came to Jay. She's kind of avoidant there. So
Yeah.
did you ever like clock that when you went back for
I'm
season
trying
like
to
or cycle
think.
17?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I didn't really ever see them together unless it was at panel.
And what
I'm
about
trying
like
to think.
the earlier cycle, like 5, or did you see them like hanging out as friends, or was it always still kind of like you just saw them together when it was shoot time?
I feel like there was a bit more like interaction on cycle 5 with all of them.
Mhm.
Yes. And then it was very much divided on on 17. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you know how like Jay, I mean, he had his falling out with Tyra and such, but it does seem like a lot of people watching this documentary, they're not happy with like how Tyra's kind of treating Jay Manuel and Miss J nowadays. What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think that's just like typical Tyra to be like so disassociated and just heartless?
I find it funny that people are shocked by it.
Mhm.
Like to me, I'm just I mean, you know how long I have personally tried to expose the show and the psychological warfare behind it, and it being very similar to the tactics of the Stanford prison experiment and all
Mhm.
of that. And knowing that with all my research, knowing that Tyra was the main person that she could have changed things. It's her show, she's the face of it. And Ken Mock was very well aware of what he was doing as well, and I called him out on cycle 17 as well. And then knowing that I had asked him in cycle 5 to please stop like psychologically abusing me with my childhood trauma behind the scenes, and he was like, no.
Evil.
So to hear these interviews and they're like, Tyra hasn't called me, and like she just doesn't give a shit about us. I'm like, it just makes me laugh. I'm like, duh, like, what did you expect? Like, she is literally a monster.
Thank you for watching this clip from the Let's Get Into It podcast. To view the full episode, visit the link listed below.